Look at their bank account and look at yours. What are they doing that you're not doing every day? So there's something to be said for being a reader in a knowledge-based economy. Your success really depends on what you know. There are no more job securities in this country. The only job security is between your ears, what you know.
Hey guys, and welcome to the SkilledDad Podcast. My name is Zach Reeser. I'm your host, and if this is your first time joining us, I want to say welcome. And if you're one of the Skilled Dad Society members coming back for another episode to learn some things that we can do and apply and have some fun along the way, you've come to the right place, especially today. So I've got a fun guest that we've had a chance to talk a couple times up to this point now, and I just always leave both educated and laughing. It's a great combination, and it kind of makes you want to go back for more. So I'm looking forward to what we can do today. But as we get into this new year, there's a term out there that some have said, maybe you've heard it, which is oftentimes leaders are readers. And I've talked to people, especially at the beginning of the year. Hey, here's my stack of books that I've got covered, and I'll see some stuff on LinkedIn, and here's what I'm going to read and all that. And then slowly, you don't necessarily hear about all those books. Heard about the stack, maybe not what was in the books. If that's you, well, we're going to hit on that today too, because this gentleman has a big background and sheet. I almost said rap sheet, but I haven't seen your rap sheet. I don't think you have a rap sheet, Howard. But just he said, no, that's right. But he's been on over 3,000 radio shows, TV shows, been in that industry for quite some time. He even helped start Comedy Central. And just, again, a hoot. But he's also known for being one of the world's fastest readers.
Fastest.
Well, I was going to say, he's the fastest reader in the world. So if we could just take a small percentage of what he can do and go and apply it and then build towards that, that's something we're going to hit on today. But just absolute joy to have Mr. Howard Berg with me today. Howard, welcome to the SkilledDad Podcast.
Thanks for having me. I hope you feel that way when we're done.
I'll let you know. If we happen to have technical difficulties in the middle, it's totally by chance.
My first marriage was a storybook marriage. Unfortunately, Stephen King wrote the book.
Yeah, we're gonna have some fun. But Howard, I'd love to just turn it over to you real quick and give us some. I gave a very, very, very short, bite into what you've done, but tell us who you are, and we can take the conversation from there.
Okay. Well, I'm the Guinness World Record holder for speed reading, 80 pages a minute. Started when I was young. I lived in the projects in Brooklyn. It was like West Side Story without the dancing and the music. I met Bernardo. He had a knife and he wasn't smiling. I was mugged 100 times. My dad was pistol whipped. We moved when they raped an 88-year-old man. So it really was that's a tough neighborhood.
Wow. Yeah.
But I found one safe place, the library. Apparently, gang kids treat libraries like vampires treat churches. You've never been in a library and said, the gangs are coming. We have to leave, or a bookstore. So I went there a lot because it was safe. And I had college reading when I was 11. I was reading at a high level very young. I read the Theory of Relativity when I was 8. So that was why I got fast. Then I went to college at 17. I went to the State University of New York, Binghamton, which is the crown jewel of the New York State University system. And I majored in biology until the second half of my junior year. I got interested in a branch called psychobiology, not psychotic biology. That's Frankenstein. Psychobiology is the biology of behavior. And no, nobody in that field has a job. I can imagine no one watching now knows a single employed psychobiologist, including myself. But we didn't know that when we were doing it. So I went to the dean and I said, I also want to major in psychology. And he looked at me and said, you're a second term junior. You haven't had one psych course. You only have a year left. you'll have to do the 4-year program in 1 year and finish the bio program at the same time. And to make it interesting, I had 3 part-time jobs. And he said, you have to take 6 science courses with 2 4-hour labs. Lab reports took 16 hours. It was on a slide rule back then.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, frankly, you're not smart enough. And that's when it hit me. They don't teach learning in school or at work. They tell you what to learn, why to learn, and what will happen when you don't learn, but not why you hear a song on the radio once and you never forget it. Then you read the 7 habits of highly effective people, and the next day you don't know a single habit. So there's got to be a way to learn things that matter, like we learned the songs, and it was. I got up to 80 pages a minute. I did the 4-year program in 1 year. I took the graduate record exam. It's like an SAT for graduate school in biology. I read 48 books in 3 nights, like biochemistry, genetics, cell physiology. Most people would agree that's not light reading. I got 3 questions wrong, so I got an 800. I was in the 99th percentile in the world. And then I taught it. I had kids as young as 11 going to university, getting A's.
Wow.
Trained the U.S. Special Forces at Fort Bragg and the Royal Thai Army in Bangkok. It's been really good. So I cracked the code for learning. And you said something very important at the opening. Read the people at the top are readers. Elon Musk reads 2 books a day. Warren Beatty, Oprah, Bill Gates read a book a day. Look at their bank account and look at yours. What are they doing that you're not doing every day? So there's something to be said for being a reader in a knowledge-based economy. Your success really depends on what you know. There are no more job securities in this country. The only job security is between your ears, what you know. So we'll discuss today how to help you learn more so you can earn more. And that's what we'll be doing.
I'm looking forward to doing that. Learn more so you can earn more. Always welcome. Is this just a natural? I mean, you learned it out of some of it was necessity in finding sanctuary in the library, so you're in it. But just as a natural gift as well. I mean, how?
Yeah.
Just pick up on it.
It's a good question. Well, before I learned to read fast, I read 3,000 words a minute. That was my starting speed. And the normal speed is 200 words a minute. So I was 15 times faster than normal before I sped up. And then I went to 35,000 words a minute. The bottleneck really is turning pages because it takes a second to turn the page, lay it flat, and go to the next page. And that may not seem like a lot, but if you're reading a page and a half a second, every second you spent turning a page was a page and a half you missed. So it actually does become sort of there's a limit to how fast you can do that. You still got to turn the page. So that's really what slows you down.
Yeah, me too. No, I'm not there yet, Howard.
Oh, before I'm done, you will. I think today I can get you 20 to 40% faster.
Hey, I'm all about it. My son is a super reader. I mean, he can just crush the books. And one of you had said this through your results, but like there's also the reading fast, but then someone gives you the test and can you remember anything that you read? So are you actually reading and retaining? You got your, 98th percentile, 99th percentile on your test after the 48-hour period or 48 books in 3 nights, you retained it. So there's that magic combination. So yeah, I'd love to. I am wide open because if I can score points not only with what I can read and then apply, being an entrepreneur, being a business leader, being a husband and a dad, I think there's some other guys that'd be interested in that too. But really, I also want to like challenge my son at reading a book. His brain will explode.
Well, I'm gonna answer both questions. There's kind of 2 questions there. Reading is not learning. You could read a calculus book slowly, memorize every equation in the book, and then fail because you have no idea what to do with the equations or how to solve a problem. You just have a memory of what equations there are. So there's more to learning than just reading, and it doesn't matter whether it's slow or fast. What I look at reading is a way of finding new things you need to learn, and I teach people how to determine what they need to learn. And then when you don't understand it, which happens a lot in complicated material, how do you understand it? How do you comprehend something that's confusing? Now you understand it. How do you remember it? And now that you remember it, how do you stay in the right mental state to use it successfully? And I'll give an example. If I teach you to drive, I'm not a driving teacher, but if I was, and you called me up and said, I failed the road test, I said, but you know how to drive. Yes, but I got nervous. It was a test. And how many people have gotten nervous on a test, whether it was a road test or an academic test? That's emotional intelligence. When I trained the U.S. Special Forces, I focused a lot on EQ. They're very well trained, but they don't sleep sometimes for 4 days. And they have to remember with absolute clarity what they taught them or they could get killed. So that's a different problem than what they're teaching them. So I was teaching them how to stay in state, despite the tiredness. And that's why I trained the Royal Thai Army. So we could do that today. And if you'd like, I could start with how do you read faster?
Let's do it, Howard. I'm ready.
So when you're driving in a car on a highway, it's not unusual to be going 70 miles an hour. In a lot of places, you're going too slowly. You're at the speed limit 60, 70 is like holding traffic up. And you're reading the road, front, back, left, and right. And you're watching your gauges. And you're watching your GPS. And you're bored, so you turn on the radio. You talk on the phone. You talk to the people in the car. And you're still bored. When you read a book, it's about 200 words a minute. It's sitting right in front of you. And the average person only remembers 10% the next day. So why can you read a row at 70 miles an hour and keep track in 4 directions effortlessly and read a book at 200 words a minute and barely remember anything? The reason is in the car, it's a movie. You're seeing all the data as pictures. When you read a book, it's like there's someone in the back of your head talking one word at a time. And most people read at the speed that they speak because they're listening to a book with their eyes. If you see all the books, this is not a facade. Those are books. You see them instantly. Now, if I said, read the title of every book one at a time, it would take you hours to do what you just did instantly. Because vision is analog. You take it all in an instant. Hearing is digital. Songs take time to play. So we're reading digitally. We're hearing with our eyes. It's inefficient. I'm teaching people how to use vision and see movies when they're reading. And that makes you go about 100 to 400% faster. And if you'd like, I could show you the first step.
That'd be wonderful.
So when we're done, pick a book you've read, preferably nonfiction. I want to make sure the only thing that can possibly confuse you is how quickly you're reading and not what you're reading. If you're reading quantum physics and you don't know any quantum physics or existentialist philosophy or organic chemistry, you might be confused for a reason. It's hard, and everyone struggles with it. So don't practice on that book to learn to read faster. If you're reading a book you totally understand, there's only one reason you're confused. You're going too fast. So now you have a book that you can understand, and then time yourself with a timer. Most of us have a smartphone or a watch. And when it rings, see how far you went and take a pencil and mark it off in the margin. So now you have a measurement. This is how far I read now in a minute. Nothing special. Now the magic. Go back and take your hand and go one line at a time with your eyes following your hand as fast as you could comprehend. So as long as you know what you're reading, go quicker and quicker and quicker till you don't. That's when it got too fast, because you should know what you're reading. It's a familiar book. Slow down just enough that the comprehension comes back, and then for about 5 minutes, as fast as you can go, one line at a time. Don't go faster than you can understand. Don't go slower than you can understand. You don't know what you're reading, it's too fast. And then when you're done, go back to that first page and test yourself for a minute using your hand to go as fast as you could comprehend. And that little mark that you put in during the first time, you're going to go 20 to 40% further. Just doing that one change, you're making your brain focus and keep going and keep going and keep going. What a lot of people do, they see something interesting, they read it again and again. It didn't change. You're wasting valuable time. Or they stop and they lose focus. What your hand's doing, it's keeping you focused, it's keeping your brain attentive, and it's maximizing the speed at which you can view information and understand it. And that right away, the first step, it takes about I'd say about 50 minutes to go 100 to 400% faster. We don't have that kind of time today. Wow. That's a good step one.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, HowieReading.live if you want the other steps. I'm doing a 4-hour live program so people can actually learn it with me teaching them personally.
And I'll include that link as well in the show notes so people can go and check that out. Because this is just a taste. Yeah, I like it.
Well,
okay.
The next question is, how do you understand anything? And I'll show you that. Learning, when I took courses in psychobiology, and I learned a lot about the brain, and then I took graduate training in reading. And one of the key things they taught us was something called schema. Schema is what makes you read and understand. So I'm going to demonstrate it rather than talk about it so it makes sense.
Okay.
I'm going to read a passage. No schema. No hard words, but no schema. Watch how confusing it is. This is an easy thing to do. If possible, you could do it at home, but you can always go someplace else if it's necessary. Beware of overdoing it. This is a major mistake. It may cost you quite a bit of money. And I'm willing to bet no one watching now has a clue what I'm talking about because there's no schema. Now I'm going to read it again with a one-word title, just one word, and instantly it makes total sense. Same passage. Title is laundry. Laundry. This is an easy thing to do. If possible, you could do it at home, but you can always go someplace else if it's necessary. Beware of overdoing it. This is a major mistake. It may cost you quite a bit of money. No confusion. By training people where these clues are on a page, they're going 3-4 times faster and understanding better because they're using the brain's natural technique, the psychological method the brain's already using to turn words into meaning and significance. And they don't teach that in school. They just throw a book at you and tell you read and write a report. And that's why people are doing so well. Where I live in Florida, they've gone over the top. They've outlawed Romeo and Juliet. It's pornography, apparently. Paradise Lost. The dictionary's been banned in many schools because it has words in it. Did you know some words are naughty? We can't have that in a school. So the other 50 million words in the book, well, for the 10 words that are in there, because we know every kid is going to memorize 50 million words out of a dictionary. We've all watched them do that every night, get the dictionary every night to memorize. But that's where we're at. And it's unfortunate, but hopefully people are intelligent enough to know that Shakespeare isn't pornography. He's actually pretty good at writing.
I remember going through a lot of different Shakespeare, like in high school and all that, studying it. But the schema, though, that's really, so that's essentially setting the stage. It's the context, the tone for what you're about to read.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes. So when I'm reading at 80 pages a minute, there's 4 kinds of reading. Elementary is that a letter A? Is that the D or the B? That's elementary reading. What What does an A sound like? What does an F sound like? You're learning the language. You're learning the alphabet. You're learning to put words. D-O-G spells dog. H-O-T spells hot. But here's where it gets interesting. So you put hot in front of a dog and you got hot dog, which is neither hot nor a dog. So now we're seeing 2 words. Then you go United States of America. 4 words. You don't see 4 words. It's too many words. I can't focus. You see a country. So our brain is naturally starting to take bigger and bigger chunks, like hot dog and United States of America, which immediately speeds you up. So when I'm going at top speed, I'm reading what's called inspectional reading. Inspectional reading is getting the big picture. What is this about? What are some of the key ideas that it presents? What are some of the challenges? Can this help me? Is it giving me anything of value? How many times have you read a book and it was the wrong book? It didn't have what I needed, and you just wasted 3 weeks and have to go get another one. Where in basically 5 minutes, you finish the book and say, this is exactly what I wanted to learn. And now you go to the next level, analytical reading, which is where you master the content and you remember it and can apply it and change your life. There's one more level, and that's syntopical reading. You're reading 10 books, and this is a big one for our audience. Most people think you make more money by working more hours or more jobs. No, you don't make more money. You make a little bit more, and taxes eat up a good piece of it. The way you make more money is you get new skills. You go from $20, $30 an hour to $700 to $1,000 an hour. When you're making $1,000 an hour, you don't have to work that many hours. You're doing just fine.
Yeah.
A friend of my sister said this kid just got out of college. He studied smartly quantum physics. They're paying him starting salary out of college, $450,000 a year to work on quantum computing. I'm going to say he picked a good major, but I'm going to also tell you there are very few people who could do what he's going to do. It's very, very difficult. So let's say you have a job. Nobody's paying you what you're worth, or they'd lose money. They pay you 10% of what you're worth and make the other 90% and keep it. So how do you go to the next level? Find something you really would like to do and then read 10 books, because when you read 10 books, you're an expert. In college, you get 8 subjects to 10 subjects. It's a major. You read 10 books, you learned something. So what you're looking for is the pattern. What did 10 people do to succeed at the thing you dream of doing? What things did they do in common? What are the things almost everyone did? They're showing you how it works. They're telling you what made their life change. And after you've read those 10 books, you'll know how to change your life too. I had a student, Ruth Lubin, Pasadena, California, 84 years old. She was the little old lady from Pasadena, literally. And I gave her my number. I didn't know if I could help her. She was so old. I figured, I don't know, 84 seems old. Not when you get older. I'm 76. 84 is a child. But anyway, she looks hot now.
It's all in the schema.
So I gave her my phone number and I said, if you need help, call me. And the next morning I get a call. I said, Ruth, what's wrong? She says, wrong. I read 3 books in 3 hours the day after I learned your program. And I'm telling you, if you think you're too old, she was 84 and read 3 books in 3 hours. I'm betting everyone listening now could match that. So in 3 days, 4 days, you've got 10 books on exactly what you need to know to go to another level of income. And that's how you improve yourself in a knowledge-based economy. It's in the word knowledge. You have to learn something. And I don't care whether it's a video or an audio or a book or an ebook or a class. Learning is learning. And what I teach you is how to learn, not just how to read. So you could take data, information, and absorb it. and use it. And if you'd like to give them a clue on that.
Yeah, before we do, real quick, I mean, I believe, and for some of you that I talk to, I know that with this podcast, like the skilled dad is the thing that we're aspiring to be, because our kids continuously change. We continuously change. So the skills we had yesterday aren't necessarily the skills that we might need tomorrow. So we're looking to go forward and build on ourselves and build, so that we can build on, our families and communities and so on and so forth. And I do know that the reading thing is one of the areas that both myself and some that I speak to, we have these wants and desires, but there is a frustration behind it because of, oh, there we go, frustrated, or hit the mic and get out of here, because of whether it's the retention side, the speed side, or the time. Time is the one that pops in the most. I don't necessarily have the time. I haven't made the time for it. We won't talk about YouTube and Netflix and all the other things that take up time. That's for another time. But this is really exciting and interesting to me because there we go, camera, come back. Because the time that we have is the same as everyone else. And it's how we budget it, how we spend it, how are we getting the max ROI on the time that we spend. Kind of like he was saying with employers, you're getting paid 10%, keeping the 90, whatever that variable might be. But how are we getting the max ROI on our time? And this is just kind of a unique way, which is why I'm so happy to have Howard on here to at least give us a taste of it, that we can go dive in, put into practice. And then if we're interested, we can go learn more. But anyway, Howard, let's take it to another level. Let's keep going.
So I'm going to show you to triple the amount of information you get when you're doing notes.
Love it.
When most people take notes, what do you usually write down when you're taking notes?
Normally I am writing down. Well, I dropped my pen earlier. I guess I was just so excited. But
I'm an exciting guy. I understand.
So
I didn't get world sexiest though. I was quite disappointed. So Brad Pitt, I don't know. I mean, I think look at me.
That's
look
for
at
another
him. I mean,
contest down
come
the road
on.
for you.
And even my wife didn't
when-
vote for me, so I don't.
I didn't. I don't know how many of us would get that vote anyway. We'll find out after 40. Hey, we're going to talk about fitness and working on that later too, so we can start pairing these. Now we're a fast reader. We're looking good. We unload the dishwasher. Marriage is re-sparked. We're good. To answer your question, when I'm writing, and I use one of these little digital remarkables, I'm pulling in. I usually put like a headline under whatever topic we're talking about, and then I just pull like keywords and or phrases, and maybe unintentionally in putting kind of notes or earmarks next to the schema that I just outlined so that I can remember what it was. That's what I do. I don't know if it's right
That's
or
what
not.
most people do, and that's 1/3 of the information. Now I'll show you the other 2/3. Okay, and I'll also show you don't want to use a notepad anymore. I'll show you how to improve on that too.
Okay.
So first of all, you should, if you're using there's two ways: with a computer or with a pad. Both work. I'll start with a computer. I'll work to the pad, and then I'll show you it'll get rid of the pad and go to another level. So I set up 3 columns. The first column is exactly what you said. It's the facts, it's the keywords, it's the details. That's what 99% of what people do when they take notes. And they're missing the other 2 columns. What's the second column? What did the writer or speaker do that made you go, wow, that's interesting? That's a meta program. It's what they're doing to teach you what you're learning. Did they tell a story? Did they tell a joke? Was it body language? Was it voice inflection? Whatever they did, and you went, my God, that's interesting. I love it. You could do that when you're teaching, when you're talking, to get people to go, you're the most interesting person I ever spoke to, because you're learning what people are doing to make themselves interesting. Whether it's and you write it in the second column, what you saw that made you go, wow, that's really cool. Well, what did they do that made you go, God, it's horrible? You don't want to ever do that. There's a lot of that too out there. Then the third column, this is where the magic happens. How will I use what you just taught me? Let's say I'm in a marketing seminar. I'm friends with Dan Kennedy. I used to lecture with him and Zig Ziglar.
Oh, wow.
So he just taught a new marketing thing. And I'm like, wow, I can increase my sales by 30% if I did that. And I write in the third column how I'll use that idea when I get home to increase my sales. Now I go home. What most people do is they never look at their notes again. No, look at that third column, what you said you were going to do. And every day do 1 to 3 of those things. Do it. And when I see my income go up 30%, I'll never have to study that again. My brain never wants to forget it because look at the reward it just got. So by using what you learn, not watching it, but using it, that's where the learning takes place. Because of the experience it's giving you, your brain sees its value and the results it's bringing. Now, if you're using a pad instead of columns, you could use labels. F is for fact, I is for insight, A is for application. So you go F dash fact. That's what you normally write. I, insight, what you're seeing. A, how I'll use it. Now here's something you all should know. There's a thing called Rocket Book. If you haven't heard about it, look, I'm not selling them. I use them. Rocket Books are forever pads, forever. The books have special paper in them with a QR code on the bottom. The pen they use is erasable and it's easy to get. You can get it at Amazon, you can get it at any office shop. So you're writing your notes the way you would, and then you take your smartphone and you take a picture, and the QR code is there, and it sends it to the cloud. You want to use a free service, go to Google Cloud. It's free. And you're storing all the notes that you just took on the cloud. So later you can print them out if you want from the cloud. So it isn't that you can't print them, but you're not carrying around this giant notebook all day or using the paper up and having to get another one. Now, once you've done that and you know it's on the cloud, you take a damp piece of cloth, which it comes with, and you wipe the page and all the ink disappears. And you can do it over and over and over. You'll never need another notebook, especially if you're in school. You got 5 subjects, 1 notebook, and each QR code sends them to a different folder on the cloud. So you could have 5 notebooks on the cloud, and you don't have to carry this giant book all day full of paper. It's called a Rocket Book. And that's a wonderful way to take the notes I just described and never have to buy another notepad or book again.
If you haven't used it, and this is not sponsored by any of these guys, they're just getting free advertising. So, enjoy it. Remarkable. This is Remarkable.
Oh, you have one.
Yeah. So this is awesome. And I can organize it. Like you said, it's everything that you just said. And the nice thing too is, and it's learned my handwriting, I can turn that text into type really, really easily. And then also move and categorize. So it does a lot of stuff. So,
Very important if you're doing any notes at all in what you do. This is the way to do it. It's the way of the future.
Yeah, it's been very handy. And I still like the act of writing personally. There's something to say with transference, I think, as well. And that's where this pen does really well. iPads didn't work for me. This is like writing. So again, not sponsored by Remarkable, but Remarkable, feel free to send something this way. It is writing. Yeah.
Let's cover one more thing we talked about earlier. We never got to memory. We touched on it. Is it okay if I show them how to memorize?
I'm sorry. See, I told you I couldn't get my bad jokes out of the way early, Howard. It's still early.
Well, like I said, I'm married. I know real pain. I have a good wife. I tell you, my first marriage wasn't so great, but this one, much better. So I'm very, very. She's an amazing person. I idolize her. She's so compassionate. There were 2 kids on TV. Their mother died in a fire, and no one wanted them. She took both kids so they'd have a mom. and they weren't related to her or anything, just so they wouldn't be split apart. That's a special kind of a human being. Someone who would
I
do.
love it.
Most people would watch it and say, "What a sad story," and she did something. So
Took some action.
that's who she is. So I know how lucky I lucked out. She's stuck, but I
You got plenty of coverage there, but it's we all married up, Howard. It's good.
not the first time.
Okay.
I stayed out of my species, but next time I stayed with the Homo sapiens if it worked better.
That'll be for episode 2.
Yeah, it's a long story and you don't want to hear it. You're too young. Okay. Anyway, we're talking memory. I'm going to give you 10 things to remember. And everyone watching, you want to remember that. Don't write it down. In 3 minutes, you'll know it backwards and forwards. Okay. Here's what you want to remember: pole, shoes, tricycle, car, glove, gun, dice, skate, cat, and bowling pins. And if I said, give me the list backwards right now, most of you would go, I can't do it forwards. How am I going to do it backwards? In 3 minutes, you'll know it backwards and forwards effortlessly. It's a system developed 3,000 years ago by Greeks and perfected by Romans. They discovered if you take a list, and I'm going to bet everyone watching can count to 10. I'm confident I'm right. What do you do with a list? The list is hanging in your memory. And what do you do with hangers? You hang things on it. We're going to use the numbers from 1 to 10 to learn the 10 things I gave you instantly, effortlessly. And I'm going to prove it. One thing, when I ask you to say, you only remember 10% of what you read, but 90% of what you say and do. This isn't an exercise or a drill. It's a tool. You will use it. Once I'm done, I'll show you the tool and its application. Everyone watching will use it. You'll find it very useful in your upholstery work as you do a lot of measuring.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the first one is 1. A pole looks like the number 1. So when I say 1, you say pole. 1.
Pole.
Excellent. 2 is shoes, because that's how many shoes you wear. What's 2?
Shoes.
What's 1?
Pole.
And if you're watching at home, do this with us. 3 is a tricycle. There's 3 wheels on a tricycle. What's 3?
Tricycle.
What was 2?
Shoes.
What was 1?
Pole.
4 is a car. There's 4 tires on a car. What's 4?
Car.
2.
Tricycle. 2. Shoes. Yeah. Listening is a different thing. Also
Yeah.
great. Pole.
3.
Tricycle.
It's common to do what you did. I'm deliberately doing that to scramble your brain.
Yeah.
5 is a glove. How many fingers in a glove? 5. What's 5?
Glove.
What was 3?
Tricycle.
What was 1?
Pole.
6 gun. They love them in Texas when I lived there. Cowboys have 6 shooters. 6 gun. What's 6?
6-shooter.
Gun.
A gun.
4.
See, my
Same
brain is
thing.
gone.
It's okay. It's still right. 4.
Car.
2.
Shoes.
Lucky 7 in dice. Lucky 7 is dice. What's 7?
Dice.
5. I'm giving you a clue.
Glove.
3.
Tricycle.
1.
Pole.
We're almost done. Rhymes work. Say 8 skate.
8. Skate.
What's 8?
Skate.
6. What did they love in Texas?
Gun.
4.
Car.
2.
Shoes.
2 more. 9. How many lives does a cat have?
9.
9. What's 9?
Cat.
Lucky 7 in.
Oh my goodness.
You want to
Dice.
throw us 5.
Glove.
3.
Tricycle.
1.
Pole.
Last one. 10. How many bowling pins are in an alley?
10 pins.
1.
So alley. Okay. Pole.
2.
Shoes.
3.
Tricycle.
4.
Car.
5.
Glove.
6. Texas.
Gun.
Lucky 7.
Dice.
What rhymes with 8?
Skate.
9.
Cat.
And 10. game of
Oh my gosh.
in an alley.
Oh, bowling. 10
And
pins.
now you learned how to speed learn numbers. Let me show you how that works. You go to a hotel, your room is 314. How many of you, by the time you got to the lobby, you didn't even know what room you were in?
Ugh.
You
This is
turn
my
the number.
life for 8 years, Howard. I just
I'm gonna
started taking
fix it.
pictures.
I'm gonna fix it. Every number now has a picture. The 0 is the 10 bowling pins. So let's say your hotel room is 314. That's tricycle, pole, car. Make a movie. A tricycle hits a pole on a car. Tricycle, what number?
3,
Hits a pole
1,
on a car.
4.
That's your hotel room.
Hmm.
Tricycle hits a pole on a car. It's also pi in geometry.
Oh.
So you can use it to learn constants, and you just turn the numbers to pictures, move a movie through the pictures,
Mhm.
play the movie in your mind, and all the numbers will come right back again. And that's what we're doing. Go to, again, howiereading.live. I'm going to teach a 4-hour class live on how to do this. So imagine the fastest reader in the world personally teaching you how to learn and understand. You will read 100 to 400% faster. You'll remember it. You'll know what to do when you're confused. You'll know how to handle the emotional stress that goes with learning. And you'll be in a position to start making more money as you're reading books on how to learn new skills.
I love it. That was fun. I'm glad to be a sacrificial lamb for all of you who are like, "Why can't you remember 10?" You're gonna try this
It's
next
not
time.
unusual,
You're gonna
but I bet
join
you
me,
remember it now. But
boys.
you went 10, what's 10?
That's right. Uh,
There you go.
Allie. There we go. How does this one last question, but how does this then we talked about the 4 stages of reading essentially. So the elementary all the way up to
Inspectional, analytical, and syntopical.
perfect. And you had referenced learning another language.
Yes. And you can use the system to learn multiple languages very quickly. I had one student, his name was Brad. He did his 4-year college degree in 6 months, the whole thing. He
Wow.
took a lot of AP tests took 5 AP tests a week, which is very hard. And he graduated, became a missionary. He learned Chinese, which I'm going to say is a hard language, in 3 weeks.
Wow.
When he was 40, he sold his company for $38 million. So when people say, "Oh, what do I want to read?" Did you sell your company for $38 million? How did he do it? He read, he learned things, and he developed value in what he did. This is the key to succeeding in a knowledge-based economy. Knowledge. It's not imaginary. I ask you, how many hours a week do you watch sports? You say, I don't have time. Well, you have 2 choices. You can watch someone hit a ball, or you can learn a way to double, quadruple, quintuple your income. What do you think is a better use of your time? Learning a skill that'll put you over the top, and then you can watch all the sports you want, or watching sports and feeling bad because you don't make enough money. You get to pick. I'm not telling you what choice to make. I'm just saying, whatever situation you're in, it's your decision. And there's a reason that Elon Musk has more money than you. He decided to read 2 books a day. I'm going to say it worked out pretty well for him. How do you think it'll work out for you not doing anything? You already know where you are. That's where you'll be for the rest of your life. If you want to make a change, you have to change what you're doing. How do you do that? You learn from people doing what you want already successfully, and you do what they did because it works.
Right.
And then your life changes for the better. It's not a magic trick. It's using your brain to accomplish the things you dream of. Or you can sit on your behind and watch other people throwing a ball. You can do whatever you want, but that's a decision you're making. And
Right.
don't blame anyone else if that's the choice you make and nothing happens.
Well said. Well said. The point of someone else has said in the past, do what you have to do now so you can do what you want to do later.
It's
And
beautiful. I love that.
if we flip that around, I think, we all have times, myself included, we're guilty of that. Sometimes we make that a habit, and now we got to look at our ratios, right? So, um, no, Howard, this is great. I really appreciated
I
you
think
being
they're
on
reading
here.
4 times faster in an hour. They get 4 hours reading done. So now you
Right.
probably watch a little sports after that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was really excited about after we had talked, and even more so now is, I think I mentioned at the beginning, but like, how do we maximize all the effectiveness of the time that we do spend? So here's a skill that we can learn that then, helps us maximize that time and get the most out of it, allowing us to
Yeah.
do more later. So,
That's all it is. That's what we're here for. And they can do it. I promise you, you can do this. I give a money back guarantee. I make very few refunds. And if someone has a problem, I personally work with them, make sure they fix it. Because
mm,
it's not just about making money, it's about making a difference. The world's in trouble. No one thinks there's too many smart people making too many decisions. That's our problem today. So my job is to help more people reach their full potential. And I see it as a calling and not just a job. So I don't just take their money and run. I make sure they learn what they paid for.
well, I appreciate that passion towards it. We have a similar passion. Um, I'm doing this so we can build up some dads, who build up their families, which then lives the community, be in the jobs that they're in,
Yeah.
and maybe go start their own thing. I know there's some of
Yeah.
you out there. If that's in
Yeah.
your
Or get a
wheelhouse,
promotion
go
and
do
go
it.
to a higher level where you are because you know more.
Right. Exactly. Well, hey, after being on 3,000 plus shows and radio shows and
3001.
three, add it to the list, baby. Add it to the list.
This was the high point of my life.
It's
I
all haven't
going
going
had
down
much
from
of a
there.
life.
That's right. But it's
I
been a
did enjoy
blast.
it. Thank you so much. I
Uh,
appreciate it.
no, I appreciate having you on and what you're doing. And, for anyone that's interested in going and checking out, what Howard's doing, I'll include that link. I know we've mentioned a couple of times.
Thank you.
But ultimately just sharing some of those tips that we can even, sometimes you need to have a peek behind the curtain to see if there's really even interest. And then when you find
Meta
out that,
program. Meta program.
there you go. Yeah. Um, but no, I just appreciate your time having you on here. Maybe we'll connect again sometime. But
I love it. I wrote a book in 5 hours. We could talk about how you do that next time.
maybe
It
we'll
went
talk
number
about that
1 on Amazon
offline.
the next. You can write a book in 5 hours. It's as easy as the other things I showed you today.
I love that. Without Chat GPT, right?
Oh yeah, I didn't. I no, I didn't use it. This is before ChatGPT even happened.
Oh no, I'm making a joke because I've seen a lot
Oh,
of
wait, I can write a book in 30 minutes now. I did a 60-page PDF in I think 40 minutes, and it was about 60 pages. But
wow.
that's with ChatGPT. But we could talk about that too because it does help.
Oh, sure. There's a tool for everything.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
but
why you're skilled dad. You learn how to use tools.
we learn how to use some tools like these back here and this one right here. That's the
That's the
main one.
main tool. That's the tool.
So let's go do it. Howard, you're helping us do it,
Go
man.
be
I
a tool.
appreciate it. That's what we're doing. Bunch of tools right here.
Your
Oh
wife
my
was
gosh.
right.
I'm gonna go have to talk with her on that one. Oh man,
Thanks so
Howard,
much, everyone. Thank you.
great having you. Thank you, sir. Oh, well, guys, gals, if you made it this far along, I hope you've had as much fun as I have. Howard's just a blast to be around. I'm glad that I could stand on stage there and go through those numbers. And hopefully you were doing it too. But that was a lot of fun. You should try it with your kids. Now you want to talk about having like some cool superpowers? Dad's got superpowers. Do that little trick. Just gave it to you. Howard shared it to you. Shared it with us right there. And that was just fun. The biggest thing is we're going into this new year, and you may not be listening to it. And I know a lot of people go and then they'll subscribe and then they download previous episodes. You might be a year out, 6 months out, whatever time it is. Um, if you've got a goal or something that you're going to go after, First, you got to decide who is it that you have to be in order to achieve that, and what do you need to adjust and change. And then we say, okay, well, we have an idea where we want to go. We have that vision, an idea. How do we get there? Well, let's go get some books and learn from what some other people have done. Well, now there's too much time. This is one of those skills that helps us be more effective and efficient. So whether you're going and jumping into Howard's course, which I think would be a lot of fun based off of the time that we spent here, if you're even just exploring more the concept of how to do this, whatever method you need to do to learn, here's a great resource for you. The key is that we're going forward and working on becoming more effective and efficient with something that could help us. And I think to Howard's point, a really important time in a knowledge-based economy. So, what do we bring to the table? And this is one way we can do it. I'm here to try to help bring us some skills that we can use and then apply to our own lives and then share with our kids. Hope this one helped. Hope you had fun. If you think of one of your friends, give them a call or give them a call. Give them a call. That's actually better than text. Give them a call. Say, hey, I thought about you. Listen to this podcast. And now you're building a relationship and giving them information. Ultimately, I hope you can take something that you can apply to your life and your journey to becoming the skilled dad.